Hello, this is Karl Kynoch, Chair with Manitoba Pork Council. I want to talk to you about two topics today. The first one being PED. We've been very fortunate in Manitoba to not have a second case of PED in a barn so far, and the credit to that goes to all the barn workers out there who have been managing to keep that biosecurity very high. In the past year, I had the privilege of attending a disease workshop on keeping biosecurities high. One of the things that they pointed out at that workshop is you need to have 3 zones on your farm. One of them being the red zone, which is your barn, one of them being the yellow zone, and that's the line that you draw around your barn and maybe a distance away from your barn, and on the outside of that is the green zone. And as a producer, you need to make sure that you control what happens between the yellow zone and the green zone. Depending on your operation, you could have a mile-long lane, you could have a short lane. You need to determine where that line needs to be, and you need to determine what happens on both sides of that line. The one thing that we have had happen in the past, we did have a couple environmental tests come back positive in some higher traffic areas of pigs. Those are currently working on being cleaned up. So that just goes to show you that the virus is around and it can spread. So I would encourage you to keep the biosecurity high and work on these zones and control those zones. On another subject is the South Korean free trade deal. Very positive to get a deal that the Prime Minister got a deal into South Korea for lowering our duties. In the past, the Americans, about 2 to 3 years ago, got a deal into South Korea, and that lowered their duties on the exports by about 20%. They got close to zero on those tariffs. Manitoba and Canada have been paying 20% tariffs going into that market, and over the next little while we'll be able to reduce those tariffs also close to zero. So when you think long-term and achieving these markets in this industry, the outlook is very good as we've maintained some of our markets and managed to expand in a couple of markets, the European Union and now South Korea. So long-term, the industry is looking very strong if we can manage to keep these diseases out of our barns and reap some of the rewards that we have worked so hard to get. That's all for now. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again.